everybody, welcome to ABC. We're a bit sad this morning because this month, where we should have had ABC Live and had groups in the building, we're not able to. But we're so happy to join you at home via the video, via YouTube. We're really happy to be able to still do that. This week, we're looking at a New Testament Bible character who steps out and does something really brave with Jesus. Come and join us and see who that is. See you later.
Good morning, everybody. Are you ready to read the Bible with me? This week, we're reading a story all about Peter, and he does something very brave. But the story starts with Jesus. Are you ready? Right. Jesus walked on water. Jesus told his disciples to go on ahead of him. Then Jesus walked up a mountainside to pray. Storm clouds filled the sky. Jesus could see the disciples in the boat. They were having trouble. The wind whooshed. The waves sloshed. The boat was tossed about. Suddenly, the disciples saw someone walking on the water towards them. They thought it was a ghost. Jesus called out to them, "It is I. Do not be afraid." The disciples still weren't sure. Peter said, "If you are really Jesus, let me walk out to you." Jesus replied, "Come." Peter stepped out of the boat. He began walking on the water towards Jesus. Then Peter looked at the wind and the waves. He became afraid. Suddenly, he started to sink. "Lord, save me!" Peter cried out. Jesus reached out and pulled Peter up. "Why didn't you trust me?" Jesus asked Peter. They climbed into the boat and the storm stopped. The disciples worshipped Jesus. They said, "Truly, you are the Son of God." That's the end. Hope you enjoyed it. I did.
So our amazing Bible character today is Peter. Peter is one of Jesus' disciples. He was a fisherman by trade, and then he left that to follow Jesus, and he saw Jesus do some incredible things. Just before our story today, he's seen Jesus feed over 5,000 people with just a handful of fish and loaves. And Jesus has sent his disciples out on a boat into the water, and he's on the shore praying to God. A storm kicks up and the disciples are scared. Then they get terrified because they see a figure walking towards them on the water and they think it's a ghost, until they hear Jesus shout out, "Don't worry, it's me." Peter replies, "If it's really you, let me come out towards you." So Peter climbs out of the boat and he does something that is impossible. He walks on the water. It's amazing, it's incredible. But then he looks around him and he sees the waves and the wind, and he panics and he starts to sink and he calls out, "Jesus, help me." Jesus reaches down, pulls him out and gets him back on the boat. He says, "Peter, why didn't you trust me?" It's a story that we can learn a lot from. It's all about how do we trust God. And the way to do that is to fix our eyes on Jesus. When Peter focused on Jesus, he walked on water. It was amazing. It was when he took his eyes off Jesus that the problems happened. So how do we fix our eyes on Jesus? Well, there's a couple of things that I do. One is tuning into church or tuning into ABC. When we come together to learn together who God is and what Jesus has done for us, that's one way that helps keep us focused, remembering that big picture that God is in control, that Jesus is King. And I can do the same by reading my Bible. I can read stories about who Jesus is that tells me what he's done, what he's said, and it reminds me that he is the big rescuer and he is Lord in my life. And I can talk to him whenever I want, and I don't need to say fancy words, and I don't have to do it out loud. I can do it in my head, and I can tell him what's worrying me. I can talk to him about how my day's going, and I can thank him for all that he's given me. When I do those things, it helps me to fix my eyes on him. Peter learned over time to fix his eyes on Jesus. He learned to trust Jesus with everything that he had. Peter makes lots of mistakes along the way as well, but each time Jesus picks him up, forgives him, and says, keep going. And that's something for us too. If we make a mistake, if we have a time where we don't manage to fix our eyes, if we get scared or doubt, it's all right, because Jesus will pick us up and say, keep going. I love you and I forgive you. Isn't that great? Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.
Well, here we go. Today's challenge is the Flappy Fish Challenge. Everybody's fish is clearly on the floor and they're holding their flapper. There we go. This is Inga. As we move along, we see the next contender, who is Rhonda. Along to Tracy. At the end of the row, we have Legs. As you can see, they're eager and ready. All they've got to do is flap their fish along the floor to the finish line. Contenders, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go! And they're off. As you can see, Tracy's taking the big lead to start with. She's got a really good flap going there. It looks like it's going to be Tracy. Tracy's still got a couple of inches to go. She's going backwards. She's going backwards. Tracy isn't over the line yet. She's got caught up in the square. We have a winner. It's Rhonda. Rhonda, how do you feel?
Today we've been learning all about Peter and the importance to fix our eyes on Jesus. So I thought we could make a craft together, a little piece of art that we could put up somewhere to remind ourselves each day to remember Jesus. So for this you're going to need some paper. Dark paper is better for it if you've got it. You're going to need some PVA glue, some salt, paints like this, kind of watercolor based paints, paintbrush, a little thing of water, and a pencil as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our paper. Now I'm going to go for a piece of artwork this size. You could do the full page if you wanted, but I'm going to go for a little bit smaller. And using my pencil, I'm going to draw the outline of the cross, and the cross is going to be the symbol of my artwork, and it's going to help me just to think about Jesus each day. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the dark paper, but I've got a cross there. And then I'm going to take my glue. Now this is a messy craft, and carefully I'm going to put the glue on the outline of the cross. So I'm going to make a cross shape with the glue all the way around, like that. Try and hold it up so you can see it. Okay, there we go. Now, this is the fun bit. This is the messy bit. You're going to take your salt, and you want to pour salt over the top of all the glue to make sure it covers it all. You want the salt to stick to that glue that you've poured. Just nice and carefully. or all the way around. Okay, now just give it a minute or two just to settle down and stick. You give it a little shake, make sure it's sticking on there, and then you want to get rid of the excess, all that extra salt that's not sticking. So I've got another bit of paper that I'm going to pour it carefully onto. Like that. And what you should be left with is across like that, some more salt there. Okay, so the glue and the salt have created my cross outline. So I'm just going to get rid of that excess. Got one more little tap. So it's all gone. And then we get to make it look pretty. So you want to take your colours and you want to use water-based paints really. And you want quite a bit of water on it so that the salt absorbs it. So what I've been doing is I take the paint, make sure I've got lots on my brush, and then I put it back into the water again, and then you just want to dab it onto the salt. So lots of water on that brush. I'll hold it up just so can you see that? So again, get it on the brush like that, back in the water so it's got lots of water on it, and then I just dab it on and it spreads really easily around, and I can do that all the way around with different colours. And we want to think of somewhere where we can put this in our house back in the water. I'm going to put mine beside the front door, I think, so that every time I leave or come into the house, I'm always reminded to fix my eyes on Jesus. Because when we're focused on Jesus, then we are living our lives by faith and not fear. And fear can hold us back. It caused Peter to sink, didn't it? And if our lives are controlled by fear and not faith, then it's harder to live like Jesus. So we can ask God's help to live more like Jesus, to not be afraid. One of the best things to do is to keep remembering how much Jesus loves us and who he is and what he's done for us, dying on the cross so that we can be forgiven. Remembering these things each day will help us to live God's way. I go all the way around like that, just dabbing on. And what you'll end up with is a nice little piece of artwork. You can maybe make one of these. Christmas is coming up, isn't it? You can make some Christmas cards using the same technique. And there you are. A little piece of art that will help us this week to fix our eyes on Jesus. Okay guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.
We hope you've had a great time this morning learning all about Peter and how brave he was to step out of that boat and walk on the water towards Jesus. We hope you've learned a lot, we hope you've enjoyed making your craft, and we'll see you all soon.